Welcome to Relaxed Reddit Readings. Today we have 3 Reddit stories for you. Reddit stories that will make you question your own sanity. Story 1. I exposed my fantasy football commissioner's shady money scheme. So I just blew up my entire workplace fantasy football league, and now everyone's calling me a snitch, but honestly, I think I did the right thing. Here's what went down. We've had this fantasy football league at work for 5 years now. It's a good group of guys, nothing too crazy, just $200 buy-in, winner takes most of the pot. Last year I actually won the whole thing, which was awesome because it was my second time winning. Usually when you win, the league commissioner just hits you up and sends you the money through Venmo or whatever. Pretty straightforward, right? Well, this time was different. When I reached out about my winnings, he tells me he's having some banking issues and I'd have to wait. First red flag right there, but I figured hey, we've been doing this for years, I trust the guy. So I waited. And waited. And waited some more. Months went by and every time I'd ask about it, he'd have some new excuse. His account was frozen, he was switching banks, his wife was handling the finances, always something. Then I started talking to some of the other guys in the league, and that's when things got really interesting. Turns out, the guy who won 2 years ago never got his money either. Same story, same excuses. And get this, the winner from 3 years ago was starting to wonder if he ever actually got paid or just forgot about it. So now we're talking about potentially 3 years of this guy just keeping the prize money for himself. That's $600 minimum, probably more. I decided enough was enough and called him out in our group chat. I laid out everything, asked him directly where the money was, and told everyone else about the pattern I'd discovered. The whole thing exploded. Half the guys were pissed at him for basically stealing from us, but the other half were mad at me for airing dirty laundry in the group chat instead of handling it privately. Some people are saying I should have just talked to HR or handled it one-on-one, but honestly, if this guy was scamming multiple people, didn't everyone deserve to know? Now the whole league is falling apart, people are taking sides, and it's making work pretty awkward. The commissioner is denying everything, saying he just forgot about some of the payments and that I'm making a big deal out of nothing. But come on, you forget to pay out $600 over 3 years? I don't think so. The worst part is, some people are acting like I'm the bad guy here for exposing what was obviously a scam. They're saying I ruined the league over money and that I should have just let it go. But that doesn't sit right with me. If someone's stealing from you and your friends, shouldn't you speak up about it? Or should I have just taken the loss and kept quiet to keep the peace? If you're enjoying these stories, hit that like button and let me know in the comments which story you relate to the most. Story 2. My wife is mad I won't let her friends mock my disability. So my wife just told me I embarrassed her by standing up to her friends, and I'm honestly questioning everything about our relationship right now. We just had our first baby, which should be the happiest time of our lives, but this whole situation has me really messed up. Let me give you some context here. I have a severe spine injury from when I was 17. Standing or sitting in one position for long periods causes me extreme pain, and sometimes my legs go completely numb. It's something I deal with every day, but I try not to let it define me. When my wife was in labor, I was determined to be there for her completely. I stayed awake and on my feet for almost 2 straight days helping her through everything. I pushed myself way past my limits because I wanted to support her. My legs went completely numb and I could barely walk afterward. Even a week later, my legs are still acting up and I'm having trouble getting around. So we're at dinner with her friends last night, and I'm obviously moving pretty slowly and carefully. These are people who've known about my condition for years, by the way. But instead of being understanding, they started making jokes. One of them said I was walking like an old man and asked if I needed a walker. Another one laughed and said maybe I should get one of those scooters you see at the grocery store. They thought this was hilarious. My wife was sitting right there, smiling along with their jokes. She didn't say a word to defend me. So I spoke up. I told them that making fun of someone's disability wasn't funny, especially when that person had just pushed themselves to their physical limits to support their wife during childbirth. I wasn't yelling or anything, but I was definitely firm about it. The whole table got quiet and her friends looked uncomfortable. The conversation moved on, but the mood was definitely different after that. On the way home, my wife laid into me. She said I was being too sensitive and that her friends were just joking around. She told me I embarrassed her by making such a big deal out of it and that I should have just laughed it off. She said her friends probably think I'm uptight now and that it's going to make future gatherings awkward. I tried explaining that these weren't harmless jokes, they were making fun of a medical condition that causes me real pain every single day. And the fact that I was dealing with extra pain because I'd pushed myself to support her during labor made their comments even worse. But she just kept saying I overreacted and that I need to learn to take a joke. The thing that really gets me is that if someone made jokes about her appearance or her job or anything else, she'd be furious. But when it comes to my disability, apparently that's fair game for humor. I'm starting to wonder if she's actually ashamed of my condition and just doesn't want to admit it. Should I have just sat there and let her friends mock me, or was I right to speak up for myself? Story 3. My friend almost got trafficked and everyone blames me for helping. So my incredibly naive friend almost got human trafficked, I potentially saved her life, and now somehow I'm the bad guy in this whole situation. I can't even wrap my head around this. My friend, let's call her Sarah, is absolutely gorgeous but unfortunately not the sharpest tool in the shed. I've known her since boarding school and I'm constantly worried about her because she makes some really questionable decisions. She's big on TikTok and Instagram, always posting these glamorous photos, and that's where this whole nightmare started. Last week she tells me she's flying across the country to meet some guy she met online. Not just any guy, but someone she's literally never video chatted with or talked to on the phone. She's only seen a few photos and exchanged some messages. Every single red flag in the world is going off in my head. I tried everything to talk her out of it. I told her about human trafficking, catfishing, all the horrible things that could happen when you meet a complete stranger in an unfamiliar city. But she was convinced this guy was legit because he seemed rich and successful in his messages. She even sent me screenshots of their conversations, and honestly, it read like a textbook predator playbook. But she wouldn't listen to me. She bought the plane ticket and everything. So I did what I thought any good friend would do. I booked a flight on the same day and got a hotel room in the same city. I didn't tell her I was coming because I knew she'd be mad, but I couldn't just sit at home knowing she might be walking into a dangerous situation. Good thing I did, because everything went exactly as wrong as I predicted. She gets to the airport and the guy who's supposed to pick her up doesn't show. She's texting him and calling him, no response. She's stuck in a city she doesn't know with nowhere to go. That's when I revealed that I was there and went to get her. When we got back to my hotel room, we tried calling the number the guy had given her. Turns out it was a Google Voice number that was no longer in service. All his social media profiles had been deleted. The photos he'd sent her were probably stolen from someone else's accounts. The whole thing was obviously a scam, and honestly, I don't even want to think about what would have happened to her if she'd actually met up with whoever was behind those fake profiles. You'd think she'd be grateful that I potentially saved her from a really dangerous situation, right? Wrong. She's furious with me for following her and says I violated her privacy and don't trust her judgment. Her other friends are also mad at me, saying I was controlling and should have just let her make her own mistakes. They're acting like I'm some kind of stalker instead of a friend who was genuinely concerned for her safety. I'm getting texts from people calling me possessive and saying I have boundary issues. But here's the thing, if I hadn't been there, she would have been stranded in a strange city with no backup plan, potentially in serious danger. The guy she was supposed to meet was clearly running some kind of scam or worse. Am I really the villain here for making sure my friend didn't get hurt, or are these people completely missing the point? If you enjoyed these stories, drop a comment telling me which one was your favorite. And if you want more relaxed Reddit readings, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed these stories, like, comment and subscribe for more relaxed Reddit readings.